Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do a book review over Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. For those of you who have not read this book, fear not. I will definitely let you know when I am breaching spoiler territory. The story of Everything Everything follows our main character Maddie, who is a teenager who is desperate to find out more about the world. She is 17 years old, 17 or 18 at the start of the novel, and she is confined to her house because she has a very rare disease that makes her unable to go outside of her house. Even the air brought into the house has to go through a purifier so that it doesn't actually kill her. It's a very unfortunate disease that does affect those in the real world, a small percentage of people in the real world. Maddie has had to come to terms with it since she was a young girl. She hasn't really been allowed to go outside. Actually, she's never been outside. And everything for Maddie changes, and she no longer is as able to accept the life that she has been dealt with, spending time with her nurse and her mom when a big change in her life happens. The house next door is inhabited by a new family, and one of the members of that family is a boy right around Maddie's age. He likes parkour, and he slowly breaches her world with a bundt cake. This story is cute. It is one that's a little bit heartbreaking, and it's very bittersweet. It's one that I did thoroughly enjoy, and I was torn on how I wanted this book to go. For those of you that do not know, this story has a lot of mixed feelings and reviews, and I can completely understand both sides of it. But personally, based on the story that I read, I did fall in love with this story, with how it was written. I think the only other book that I could put in the same category as how this book made me feel and how I was during the time that I was reading this book was If I Stay by Gail Forman. One thing that I can state is I could totally relate to Maddie with her love of reading. She ends up having these books sent to her, and they are actually packaged in such care so that nobody else touches them, so that she can actually read them but does not end up getting infected by somebody else's germs. But I love the little detail that she puts in every single book to state, if found, a reward of, with 3 options. And I loved how in this story you have the illustrations that Maddie creates that just burst forth from the page, that make you think of her as not just a character but as a person, and her dictionary with her own definitions of what things are, not what they should be, and even the little snippets of reviews for books that are so honest and to the point that you can't think of anything other than the fact that Maddie is her own person no matter what has taken place in her life. So for those of you that are at this stage, I'm going into spoiler territory. I don't think a spoiler-free review needs to be long. It just needs to be to the point. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope I've inspired you this year to pick up Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. So for those of you brave enough to allow yourself to be spoiled, or for those of you who are wanting to hear some of my honest thoughts in this review, please enjoy this spoiler section of the review. I have to start off with the most hilarious yet heartwarming interaction between Oli and Maddie with the bundt cake story. It was beyond epic proportions. It made me laugh. It made me cry. I felt everything possible emotion-wise when I was reading about these different stories taking place to this bundt cake, and I thought that it was the perfect way for Oli and Maddie to actually start interacting. The two of them had a silent friendship that blossomed into this beautiful, fantastic real life story that just warmed my heart. There's one thing that I was not a huge fan of, and that was when the trip to Hawaii, one detail was left out that I did not clue into when I was reading, and that was, how did Maddie get a passport? Unfortunately, you do need to have a professional photo taken and mail that off, or go into an office to have a passport done. At least that's what you have to do here in Canada. I'm not sure about stateside, but I'm a little bit intrigued by how Maddie ended up getting a passport without leaving her house or anybody finding out. That's the only thing that I kind of had a bit of a struggle with, but honestly, the entire story was one that I enjoyed. I loved seeing the fact of Maddie blossoming into this character that didn't want to just accept the boundaries that she was given. She wanted to push those boundaries and at least once in her life experience life, and I can understand that. I understand wanting to push boundaries or wanting to go and do something that everybody else says that's not you. I really enjoyed the fact that in this series of interactions in each of the chapters, the people that Maddie interacts with makes her more human. She interacts with every single person in a different way, be it her nurse, her mom, Oli, or even random people that she comes in contact with. This story gives you a real life shake in the pages where it says that her heart stopped and her heart started again. It just was one of those breath-catching moments that I read. You see, I was in one of those very split on how I wanted this book to go. You see, part of me was hoping that the mom just had an issue, that she was lying, and that Maddie actually wasn't sick. But on the other hand, I wanted to not have my feelings for the mother be of hate. I wanted to care about this mother because she had cared for her daughter and not hate her and have her lie, and that Maddie was not ill. It did come a little bit as a surprise, but not as a huge shock when the author revealed that the mother had a mental illness with regards to her fear and wanting to preserve herself as well as Maddie, since she had the breakdown of losing her husband and son. I believe there was a brother there. I could be mistaken. The whole thing with it, though, is in the back of my mind, I had this imagining that this was a Rapunzel retelling, that her mother was the evil witch, that Oli was Maddie's prince, and that Maddie was Rapunzel, locked in a tower, not visible to the outside world and not able to leave her prison. And for once in my life, I was in shock that a story was written that I felt was a retelling, but hadn't heard anybody else state this must be a retelling. Even now, I sit and wonder if this book actually is a retelling of Rapunzel, or if I'm just making that up in my head because of it. Although this story is a beautiful story, it is very bittersweet because by the end of it, you know that brokenness has occurred in people's lives, but you also have the situation of hope for a better future with Oli and Maddie. Oli is not this perfect character. He has his own troubles going on in life. He has to deal with his father's alcoholism and abuse, and his mother needing to stand up and decide that it is time to leave this unhealthy situation. And near the end of the story, that actually happens. I'm so excited to see what else this author can write. I'm excited to pick up another book by this author because I feel that she's extremely gifted in what she does. And to be honest, I would like to see 10 years from now what Maddie and Oli are doing in their life, be it together or apart. But I want to see that these two have made something of themselves. A bittersweet ending is never the end in my eyes. A bittersweet ending means that there is so much more hope that can take place. You have Maddie trying to come to terms with someone that she loved and trusted her entire life, destroying it in one moment by making a selfish decision. You have Ole having to deal with the situation of his folks and also the situation that he almost lost Maddie. And you have the issue of Maddie maybe not being able to have a long life because of the fact that her mother compromised her immune system by keeping her locked away when she needed to be exposed to life at its fullest. Thank you so much for watching my review, guys. I hope that you all have a wonderful 2018, and if you are looking for a book to pick up this year, I read it back in 2017 and I was not disappointed. And again, I have to say, there are mixed reviews on this book, but if you are interested in reading something, be it something that you may end up possibly hating, try it anyway. And also, for those of you that maybe have differing thoughts to my own, or you have similar thoughts, or thoughts that I haven't even thought of yet, please share them down below. I would love to hear any type of feedback that you guys had when you read this book. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will talk back soon. Bye.